Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, Linkage is Linkage is here for Sky Striker. Sky Striker Mobilize Engage or Mobilize Linkage is the newest card for the Sky Striker archetype, and in Master Duel, Kagare also came back to 2, meaning that Sky Striker is top tier. Well, we'll talk about that. But first things first, let's talk about the newest card. Now, I've already done a deck profile on Sky Striker. Obviously, things have changed. Now, with Linkage, we definitely want to go second because we're able to OTK very easily here. So, first things first, if you control no monsters in your main monster zone, this is the standard for all Sky Striker spells, so not surprising here. However, there's also no once per turn. Great. Fantastic. This is what allows it to be an OTK option, being able to use this multiple times to actually OTK. It's very funny. I'll showcase the OTK soon. But you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn, except for Sky Striker Ace monsters. This is the first thing that actually locks you in Sky Strikers, like, at all. And because of that, I actually ended up misplaying quite a bit. With this card, I'd go Linkage and, activate it, link off my monster, or, tag out my monster, and then I would proceed to try and link into something else, like for example one of my Charmers, and you can't do that. So do keep that in mind. And then you can send one card you control to the graveyard, special summon a Sky Striker Ace monster to your extra monster zone. Pretty simple. Also, it's a special summon, so do keep that in mind. It's not a hard link summon. And then if you have at least one light and one dark Sky Striker Ace monster on your field or in your graveyard, the summoned monster gains 1,000 attack. So this is really helps out the OTK, because given that a boost of 1,000 attack and defense, if you have Ray and Rose in your grave, you are able to easily set up a 8,000 push. Okay, not easily, but you are able to set up an 8,000 push. Now, granted, this deck list is not great. The main reason for it is because I am missing a lot of URs, and I don't really have too many of the materials. I just grinded out a whole bunch, but I don't have all of the materials to, have like 3 Max C, or 3 Effect Veiler, or multiple Lightning Storms, or Panks, and stuff like that. So, realistically, this should look different. Just play better going second cards, more hand traps, and specifically Effect Veiler. Now, I'm playing Droll and Lockbird because it is a spellcaster, which is very helpful for Celine to go for OTKs more efficiently, but Effect Veiler is just better. It's just a better option. Droll came up literally once, I think, so there's that. However, this is a good budget option if you do want it. Moving on, we have a whole bunch of hand traps, DD Crow, Droll, Maxi, Ash Blossom, and then a whole bunch of also going second cards, Dino Wrestler, Pankratops, Vrygeki, Lightning Storm, Harpy's Feather Duster, etc. I'm also playing Cosmic Cyclone, just because we don't have as much room for, Lightning Storm, and I know what you're saying, why aren't we playing evenly matched? If we want to go second, play evenly matched. We want to go and actually use our Linkage. Linkage gets us a lot of damage, as well as Hayate giving us a lot of advantage off of that. It's not really all that advantageous to give up our battle phase. So, that's why. Next up, we are playing the triple Ray, pretty standard, and double Rose. Now, we're playing 2 Rose, whereas previously we would mostly play 1. Some people wouldn't even play Rose. But the reason now is because we want to send it to the graveyard off of Hayate so that we can do the combo with the Linkage. So we go Ray, normal summon, attack. I'll explain it later. But yeah, during the combo, we would dump the Rose, which would get both Ray and Rose in the graveyard, allowing us to then boost our monster with Linkage. So, there you go. We also have ourselves Rhoda to search out, either of them. We have Pot of Desires. Pot of Desires is absolutely crazy. It's just Pot of Greed. And I know what you're saying, but it banishes Engage. It rarely does, and even if it does, that's fine. You're getting a +2. There are other options that you can go for. It's just worth it basically all the time. Obviously, the 2 Engage, 2 Afterburners. The reason for this is because there are a lot of monsters that you want to deal with in particular, and being able to go Afterburners and just pop a card, and then potentially also deal with a spell trap is also very nice, especially against something like Runic, where you can go target the Hugin, pop it, and then pop also their field spell, and they can't respond to it at all, because you just you're doing them at the same time. So that's really cool. We have 1 Jamming Wave, Jamming Wave is just another way to get, you know, a back row removal. I know I have a lot of back row removal, but it can also work as non-targeting monster removal, which can come up, which is why it's in here. We have the Lightning Storm, we have the Area Zero. We're playing one of this, just to special summon from deck. It's okay. It's really not that good, I'm not gonna lie. This is a cuttable card easily. Same with Jamming Waves. We have the 2 multi-roll. This card is crazy. Just insane card. You get a set 5 at the end of your turn. Absolutely insane. We have ourselves Cyclone, the 2 Cyclone, the 2 Called by the Grave, the 1 Hornet. Honestly, just switch places. Just Engage and Hornet need to switch places and we'd be good. Triple Widow Anchor, 1 Shark Cannon, and triple Linkage. In the extra deck, we have ourselves the 2 Kagari, we have triple Shizuku, triple Hayate, 1 Kaina. We have 1 Nightmare Phoenix to deal with pesky back row that we may not be able to deal with some of our other cards, or we didn't draw them, or what have you. We have 1 Zeke, we have 1 Charmer, Light Charmer, we have 1 Dark Charmer, we have the 1 Celine, and of course the 1 Access Code. Honestly, I would probably cut Nightmare Phoenix for Nightmare Unicorn if I could, but I can't, so there's that. So definitely would be better just to have another, like, Link 3 to go into, especially one as useful as Unicorn. Being able to potentially, like, deal with another card would be more advantageous than Phoenix. I don't think I summoned Phoenix once. So yeah, that's the deck. Let's hop into the replays and show you how linkage works. Alright, so here we are going second. Now, one thing that is advantageous about going second in Master Duel is sometimes people just will play around Numeron, right? And with Numeron running around, you don't want to summon a monster. So people won't summon a monster, and it will be very nice because then you can do the full OTK without them really interrupting you. So let's quickly go through this. My opponent is going to realize that they are going first, and they lost the coin flip, so they're just going to set 1 and pass. We draw the Lightning Storm, which would have helped immensely, but we're going to go for the Jamming Waves, pop their set card, turns out to be his Cosmic Cyclone. Great. We're going to normal summon Ray and immediately proceed to battle. We're going to go Ray in for 15 and then go into Hayate. Hayate will then attack, go for 15. Hayate will dump the Rose, which will get it into the grave, which will then allow us to use Linkage and link it off into Kagari. Kagari will then be boosted by an additional 1,000 because we have both the Rose and the Ray in the graveyard, and then Kagari will also add back the Linkage. Linkage can then be used again after our Kagari attacks, so we're going to go and activate our Linkage, tag out the Kagari, and go for whichever one we want to. Shizuku here, and we go for lethal. My opponent couldn't respond even to the dump off of Hayate due to the fact that it is in the damage step, meaning if they had Ash, it doesn't do anything. So even if they had the Ash to potentially stop us, it doesn't do anything, and we get the victory. Cool. Alright, so what happens if you go first? Or, more specifically, what happens if your opponent chooses to go second? Well, let's find out. First of all, I don't have the greatest fans, seeing as how we don't have a normal summon, but I'm just going to activate the multi-roll and pass. Hopefully we don't die. But we also do have 2 pretty decent hand traps. My opponent is going to go for the Numeron wall. I see that, and I go, alright, we'll just activate the Maxi here. No real point in not doing that. Yeah, called back. Okay, doesn't matter. Doesn't really matter. The Maxi isn't really going to get us a whole lot. However, this Ash Blossom is basically useless now, because I know that they're playing Numeron. Cool. Anyway, so that gets called by negated, etc. Outcomes Numeron Network. Network activates, can't Ash it, cool. Outcomes are our opponent's monsters. At this point, I realize if they are going to OTK me with specifically, what is it? The quick play. Limiter removal. I can never remember that card. If they're going to OTK me with limiter removal, I can still wait for them to actually activate it, and then I would take 2,000 additional damage, but we could also just protect our life points with the Widow Anchor and the Linkage. So we can actually, like, go Widow Anchor, negate one of our opponent's monster's effects, and then we can also go Linkage to just summon another monster, which would be, at the very least, not OTK, it wouldn't be lethal, but luckily they don't have anything, and then they also go into Apollosa. Look, a format Apollosa is good, but very not so good against this deck. We draw Shark Cannon, which is just not very good, but that's okay. We're going to go for Widow Anchor and chain the Linkage. I don't know why I chain Linkage here. It really doesn't, I mean, it kind of matters, but yeah, we're going to send the Widow Anchor to the grave. This also turns off our multi-roll, I think. But anyway, we go for the Hayate here. Hayate is going to dump the Engage, and we are going to then go for Shark Cannon to bring back our Numeron wall. Why do I go for the Numeron wall here? Well, because I thought I could go for Dark here. I can't, so I just end up going for Zeke and then into Kagari. Yeah, that was just terrible. However, it does also trigger the multi-roll, so we can set more cards potentially. And yeah, I knew that they had an infip. Not a lot I can do about that. Sure, Kagari gets negated. We're going to go into Shizuku, and we're going to pass on that. Now, this does allow me to set a few more cards, and I do think it's a bit weird here. I go for the Hornet Drones first off of the Shizuku. Normally, if you want to search something that's in your grave, you go for the multi-roll first, because Shizuku can then search whatever was in your grave that you got out of the grave due to multi-roll. But it didn't really matter. I could have searched out Engage there. I don't really want to search out Engage. So I actually just want to keep the spells in the grave because I specifically want to be able to steal with the Widow Anchor. So that is the plan, is I want to be able to steal with the Widow Anchor. So I'm going to set the Widow Anchor, but I'm also going to set the Linkage because we can actually just send the Mecha Module to the graveyard in order to, the multi-roll to the graveyard with the Linkage in order to get 3 targets for Widow Anchor so we can steal. So that's kind of the plan, and I noticed that they now have nothing on their field, so I'm like, okay, yeah, I kind of need to be able to survive. They go for the Planet Pathfinder. I'm like, okay, they already have Numeron Network. There's no point in ashing this. Maybe they have something else that would be more disadvantageous for us. But anyway, out comes the 4 monsters. They're going to go for their Numeron Gates. They're going to attack in, deal 700 to themselves, boost up. Now, notably, it boosts by 800. So they're actually only at 16. So even though my Shizuku dies, they're still only up to 32. So I'm actually able to take another hit. And then out comes the Numeron Gate. We're going to go for the Linkage. We're going to send away the Mecha Module in order to go for Kaina, which then allows us to negate the attack. Great. Fantastic. Okay, out comes Sunya. I cannot allow Sunya to banish, because otherwise, if it comes back and I don't kill them on the next turn, I die. So I'm going to steal their monster, which also means that it doesn't get banished, so they're now going to have a dead monster on their side of the field that I could potentially just have them keep, if I so wanted. But I draw Afterburners, and I'm like, I think this is probably worth it. Because this allows me to destroy both of those. I gain 100 from Kaina, which now puts me at 9, which is a little bit better. But now we can go for the Kagari, which also adds back the Engage. This also puts 3 spells in grave for the Engage, so now we can go Engage. I'm going to search out the multi-roll here. We just kind of need it. And then I draw a Called By, which is great. Now I know what you're thinking. Why are we firing the Called By here? What do they have? They have Wall. I'm pretty certain that they have a Wall in hand, which is why I'm activating this now. If they have Wall, it prevents me from actually going and dealing like lethal damage if I need to. So I go for the Wall here, but in all honesty, this is probably a mistake. I probably should have just... I actually think that it's probably right, all things considered. But yeah, we're going to go and just activate the Mecha Module, and I'm going to attack in, deal as much damage as I can, and then go Shizuku. I'm also then going to go for the Hornet Drones here, which will then give us the token. I'm going to link those off into Dark, and then we can also activate the Dark, which for some reason, I did not know this, but for some reason, I didn't think that this guy was properly summoned, so I couldn't summon him, but no, I can. So yeah, I could have gone access code and then put them on significantly less life points. I don't think I would have had lethal. I think I was like just barely off of lethal. But they would have been way lower on life points. I think at this point it's still fine. We get to reset the Hornet Drones for additional protection if need be. And out comes Cosmic, and I go, oh, okay, so I win the game. They're going to set a card and pass. And yeah, at this point, the game is over. They needed specifically a Kaiju, like 1 Kaiju. And so something like a Lava Golem isn't going to work. Also, at this point, the Wall isn't going to do anything against an access code that is big enough to just one-shot them. So yeah, good game. All right, so here we are once again going second. This hand is pretty good. We drew Engage, which is like exactly what we want. And Retta? Oh, it's Tunes. Oh, it's Tunes. So the reason that I am showing you this game is because Tunes are surprisingly difficult to deal with for this deck. Sky Striker's cards all target, which creates a problem for us because we have to deal with a lot of the targeted protected tunes, which is difficult. Also, they can't be destroyed by card effect because of Toon Kingdom, so not the greatest. So this is just going to show you how we can potentially get around target protection, and that's more so the case. So out comes the Blackluster Soldier. They're going to go for Blackluster Soldier here, and they're going to set one and pass. So Toon Kingdom by itself is a card that is just impossible to deal with unless we draw like Cosmic or something along those lines that can actually help just like immediately deal with it. Now this is not protected, but Toon Bookmark does help protect it from destruction. So if we had something like Cosmic, this is no big deal, but we don't. And seeing Max C, this makes it even more problematic. I'm going to grab the Jamming Waves here just to deal with the back row. Okay, out comes Toon Terror, sure. I'm going to then activate the multi-roll. I did this in the wrong order. 100% should have activated the multi-roll first. That's just bad on my part. Unfamiliarity with the deck, definitely should have done that. I'm just going to pass on Ray, though. And the reason that I do this is because if I, like, tag out and they draw into something, like, that's really bad. However, Toons are really bad just in general if they are low on cards. So if we deal with the Toon Kingdom, we can basically deal with the rest of the field. So that's kind of the idea. Turns out, it doesn't really matter. They have Eater of Millions. Great, fantastic. We're going to go Shizuku. They're going to go and banish our Shizuku, which then brings back the Ray. And then they're just going to attack for a bit of damage. It's kind of painful, I'm not going to lie. But at this point, we actually should have pretty good way to lethal. So first and foremost, I put the Afterburner in the graveyard so that we can go and pop the Toon World, because now we have 1, 2, and 3 spells. So we're going to go and, first of all, link off into a Hayate. I go for the Hayate because I don't really need it. And then we're going to pop the Eater of Millions and then the Toon World, getting rid of the Toon Bookmark. Now we can go for the Kagari to add back the Engage, and I also get to go for Rose here. So we're going to go for Rose, and I see this, which is very nice. But I don't have a target for it, so that's fine. We're just going to go and grab our Hornet Drones here instead. And I draw into Pink. Never punished. So, yeah, I actually did need to get something there that I could have gone for. But, yeah, it's fine. We drew into just any summon, any normal summon, any hand trap, anything gets me there. So, yeah, just any monster does it. And there we go. We draw into the monster. We go for the token. We go for Kaina. And then we can link all of those off into access code. So now that we have access code, we are able to, just deal with the entire field. So we go for the Toon World first, and then we deal with the rest of the field. And we do have linkage as well, but we're not quite able to get lethal here because we don't have Ray. No, we do have Ray in rotation. But I think, we've already activated we've already summoned our Kaina. Or Kagari, so we actually don't have enough to have lethal. But that's fine, because now we just get to set a whole bunch of cards and pass. So yeah, we set 4 and pass, and then we also get to add another Engage, because why not? So at this point, yeah, our opponent is on 200 life points, and they have to deal with... Honestly, they probably could kill us if they had one more card in hand, that being Toon Kingdom and a Toon that they could summon. Turns out they have nothing, so it's fine. We draw Lightning Storm, which is funny, but we're just going to go Afterburners. We're going to pop this monster, and we don't have enough spells in Grave. We actually only have 2, but this allows us to get our Rose back. We're going to then activate the Mecha Module. We're going to activate Engage, which will then trigger our other Engage to also draw an additional card. I don't know why I decided to add this, but I guess it doesn't really matter. We have lethal several ways, so yeah, there you go. Good game. So we're back with the deck, and in all honesty, linkage is pretty good. It's very strong for this deck, and it actually came out just like a couple of weeks ago, like a month or 2 ago in the TCG, which is kind of weird seeing it so early in Master Duel, especially since it's like a post-Splight tier before we've even gotten Splight tier. So there's that. But it's good, and it's not as good as I think a lot of people are making it out to be. I think one of the reasons that Sky Striker was as good as it was as a going second option was due to the Bystials. Bystials are an absolutely insane set of cards that really helped going second strategies, especially against tier and the like, because you are able to just get extra bodies, and more specifically big bodies, onto your side of the field, which can then be used to go into things like your dark, which can then go into access code more easily and more efficiently. However, without access to those Bystials, it's not nearly as powerful. It's still a good going second option, and it definitely got more power due to linkage, but I really don't think that it will be top tier unless they just like straight up unban all of these cards. Like, just straight, all of them. With Hornet drones at 1, it's just not going to happen. I don't think Engage should come back at all to any more than 2. If it even goes back to 3, it becomes a massive issue due to the fact that any deck can all of a sudden play a Pot of Greed in their deck, which is just kind of silly. And also a Infit that just basically everyone can play, which is kind of, again, insane. So, yeah. Engage is a problem, but other than that, it's still a very solid rogue tier deck. Maybe a little bit higher. I think it's good, especially as a going second option. But I don't know. Yeah, that's basically it. I still think Kaiser Coliseum control style Sky Striker is probably better, but to each their own, am I right? Anyway, that's going to be it for this episode. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy it. If you did, a like is very much so appreciated. And if you want to check out more content like this, as well as more Yu-Gi-Oh!, then just be sure to subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye. Shout out to the Frost Guard, my members. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I hope you enjoy the content.